How did an actress once written off as a has-been completely turn things around to sell her production company for $900 million? Reese Witherspoon is somehow always able to break through limits, proving you can reach your potential no matter how underestimated you might be right now. Her story has several adaptable lessons we can steal for ourselves. After winning a Best Actress Oscar in 2006, Reese experienced a multi-year career slump, an infamous phenomenon known as the Oscar curse. But in 2011, things came to a boiling point. She read a girlfriend role script so dreadful and offensive, she wanted to pass on it immediately. But her team told her she was the only major actress not trying to get the part. Shortly after that, a New Yorker article came out describing Reese as an actor that was big 10 years ago. Frustrated by the lack of strong female roles and tired of being underestimated, Reese did something we can all learn from. Turn your frustration into motivation. Instead of letting what others think hold you back or wasting energy being upset, use that as motivation to change the status quo and prove your doubters wrong. But Reese's path to success was still far from easy. First, she took a risk and self-funded her own production company, Pacific Standard. I don't believe we all need to take such big risks, especially when starting a business, but it was the right move for her. Through her company, she acquired the rights to 2 books that stood out, Gone Girl and Wild. Gone Girl became a huge movie success, and Wild earned Reese a second Oscar nomination. But before that, adapting these books was a gamble because they had unconventional female protagonists that no one thought would sell well. That gamble, though, is what I believe helped Reese succeed. What we can take from this is the power of using your mission to set you apart. Reese's mission resonated with the authors of these books, which helped her get the rights to adapt them. It also guided her in attracting the right team to produce winning movies. Plus, it made sure they stayed true to the complexity of the characters, which is ultimately what made the movies so interesting. But that's not the only lesson we can learn from this. There's actually an even more important takeaway. Because even with these 2 hit movies under her belt, people in the industry still weren't taking Reese seriously. Of course, Reese didn't give up. But I'm not here to tell you the same obvious advice you can get anywhere. She also did something else that was incredibly smart. In 2015, she founded her lifestyle company, Draper James. When we're focused on a goal that isn't happening as quickly as we'd like, it's easy to get stuck obsessing about it. Sometimes the best way to move past it is to shift your focus to something else for a while. That gives you space to get perspective. Plus, time itself can give us solutions we wouldn't have realized otherwise. You'll see how this played out for Reese in just a bit. But before we get to that, there's one other important lesson we can take from the founding of Draper James. You might be able to guess where this is going when you learn that Draper James is named after Reese's grandmother, Dorothy Draper, and her grandfather, William James Witherspoon. The answer is that she founded Draper James with yet another mission: to honor her Southern heritage and in particular, her grandparents. Having that focus saved her business from becoming just another cookie-cutter celebrity lifestyle business. This is a great reminder to all of us that it doesn't matter how saturated a market is. You can always stand out by sharing what you love. This way, you can do good and make lots of money. But in case you're thinking Reese is too perfect and you can't relate, let's talk about a very human mistake she made. In the midst of building Pacific Standard, she was arrested for disorderly conduct. Her husband was pulled over for driving under the influence, and she was recorded asking a police officer, "Do you know my name?" promising he'd be on national news for arresting her. It did make headlines, but the focus was on Reese's horrible behavior. But it's how Reese ultimately handled this that has my respect. Actress Jameela Jamil summed it up beautifully in an interview with Reese. "You apologized and shamed yourself in a way that was so refreshing to me." What Reese said next shows us how important it is to never lose sight of the fact that we are all just human beings, no matter how big our successes or our mistakes. She responded, "I did something really stupid. It was so embarrassing and dumb. But you know what? Turns out I breathe air. I bleed the same way. I make dumb decisions. I make great decisions. I am just a human being." High five to staying grounded and remembering that for all of us. Pushing through her ups and downs, Reese finally got the breakthrough she needed: an HBO adaptation of the book Big Little Lies. The show's ratings, praise, and Emmy wins finally gave her the recognition she needed to get bigger projects. But here's where Reese did something super smart. She waited until her breakthrough. But The instant it happened, she ran with the momentum and leveraged the heck out of it. First, she completely rebranded her company. This time, she positioned it as a storytelling brand called Hello Sunshine with mass appeal for individual women. She also launched podcasts, newsletters, YouTube videos, and live events to boost that appeal. You can tell she planned on going big this time because she got outside investors too. How she got them is a perfect example of what happens when you focus on your mission and what you love. One of her investors gave this reason for why they chose to invest. It was clear to us that this wasn't just an actress coming in saying, I think I can launch a company. She'd already demonstrated through Draper James that she could, and there was a very sharp, thoughtful business plan in place. Even if your progress feels slow right now, take a lesson from this. Things can come together faster than you can believe. But even her investors couldn't have predicted what happened next. Reese continued to follow her mission while leveraging two more of her loves. Reading, apparently she reads 3 to 4 books a week, and social media. This is where things get to a whole other level. Reese's book club now has over 2.5 million monthly readers. That is a whole lot of leverage when it comes to getting the rights for adapting a book into a movie or a show. Plus, it's also a huge existing fan base for when that adaptation drops. I could be wrong, but I don't think Reese could have predicted how all this would come together. I truly believe she followed her mission and her heart, but was strategic about the opportunities that arose. While we can't predict what that might look like for you, you can still learn from what Reese did. Don't try to overplan, but do look for ways to connect the dots. Reese's journey took her to a $900 million sale of her company, but there were a lot of moving pieces. You might prefer a more step-by-step, risk-averse option. That's the way Gwyneth Paltrow built her business even when she had no experience as an entrepreneur. Let's go over each step Gwyneth used to grow quickly and profitably from scratch in this video. Once you know the formula, you can use it to grow a lot faster and more profitably yourself.